Come on in. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Hey guys, come on in. Come on in to the let's get Instagram up in here. I hope you guys can hear me. Grab your lunches. Turn off. Wipe it off. Come on in. Okay. Hey guys, hey Instagram, hey Facebook. This is Tasha. It is our lunch and learn time. And today we're doing social work table talks. It is still Black History Month. I see y'all quiet out there on our month. Where's my people that recognize that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the countless sacrifices for people who have gone before us? So I'm shouting out to that man, that woman, that child who get up anyhow, because that, my friend, is honoring our history. So I know some of you guys are logging on a little bit later. You're on your lunches. You're doing what you have to do for your families. So I'm just going to dive in. We have the email admin at talktotasha.com where people are invited to ask questions and what we should be speaking about. And so that led me to really just start talking about, especially before Mother's Day come up, which is May. And we've been doing our, matters of the heart for several years. And so some of the things that come up is the mother daughter toxic relationship and why. And although it exists with our guys too, with abandonment and all of that, I just want to be clear on our social work table talks. It's all about us talking. It's non-therapeutic. I bring notes, you guys bring your lived experience, and we just chop it up. And the goal is on our table talks that you leave with something else that sparks your interest, something else maybe you can unpack off your life, and something that you can kind of add to it to, bring value to the world. And so that is why you're going to see us or see me. I am like really getting other amazing people to slide through here to be a guest in this social work table talks. I'm not at the table right now. I'm literally hanging out on the sofa, and I have on Mitch Mac socks, and that's what feels good to my little fat chubby feet over here. And so that is how we do it. I also want to give a shout out to Tiffany Cotton Reader, who designed this shirt and blessed me. I want to say it was our first or second time meeting at the Escape Lounge, and she blessed me with this shirt. And the divine thing about it is I have been on a campaign really led by God to just really do a movement, if you will, about girl get up, like getting up in our faith, getting up in our mindset, getting up with the things we're supposed to do. And it was no accident that she had already made these shirts, different colors. So if she watched the replay, I'll tag her later. Um, if she watched the replay, I'll tag her later. But literally, it was all divine. Like literally, that's how God operates. Like divine. Like what is the chances in our own natural self to know that that something is downloaded in you spiritually, and only to have the Queen Tiffany come to my escape lounge experience, and she just had an aha moment. She's like, I have to get you this shirt. Like literally God gave her the same thing, because she designed, you guys know that she's the fashionetta who designed us and get us together for that next level meeting and all of that stuff. So I just wanted to give God a real big praise for different ones that I know is too many to name right now, that literally blessed me with this shirt. So I want to say thank you so much. And she put, hey, Instagram. So she put on here, girl, get up. She has somebody tag her, Isaiah 51 and 1. Girl, get up. Girl, get up. So she made this shirt. And I've been in Sacramento, I think other parts of Southern Cal. We've just been having a good time, encouraging each other right now. So a lot of times when you guys are emailing people, different people emailing, and we invite that because we want social work table talks to be a conversation of substance. We're not here to be right. We're not here to be wronging people. We're not here to state the obvious. We are here for a resilient base, push and pull, resource, keeping it real, dollar bill, keeping it real. And I want to hear from you guys. So let's dive in, shall we? Hey, over in Instagram. So if you guys are wanting to be one of my co-hosts and you have some added information that's going to propel us all forward, make sure you hit the DM, because I'm looking for co-hosts. I'm looking for guests. This is not a show, because when I think of the show, it just set different with me. It's no tea, no shade for someone led that way. But for me, I want to flat out have conversations of substance, like have a good time, wear the Mitch Mac socks that y'all see me rocking, and be cool with it, okay? So let's just talk about, you guys are out there. What do you think? I'm going to hit on two things today. So one of the emails that's been coming in that we've been seeing, I want to also say shout out to individuals who have worked their butt off, retired as therapists, and they literally see the crisis, the national crisis as it relates to mental illness, and they have come out of retirement part time to see individuals. I know a lot. This is Black History Month, so we're really moving you guys into just normalizing that it is totally okay to talk to a therapist. It's not what many of us African American folks we were raised with, and some of my brown folks, they say the same thing, that therapy is not literally what we see on TV, right? And so it is a beautiful thing to have people come out of retirement and say, you know what, I'm going to render my skill to the world right now. And so that's the kind of people I pray for to be in my life, where I don't have to like go on the Outlook calendar and hope that they make time for me. They literally, we get together, we like, okay, this is what I can do, Tasha. This is my 2 days a month. This is what I can take. And you guys, people in our lifetime, in our meetings have turned into a huge ministry. Like people are reconciling with their sons and daughters. Like women are starting to know exactly how to form their words to be able to have that bold conversation with their mother. They are starting to like meet eye to eye. Like God is doing the thing, right? And so I think the first step is just kind of admitting to what part of us that needs to have the most attention, if you will, right? So let's just talk about that for a minute. And Instagram, you guys more than welcome to chime in as well. So when we're talking about the toxic, I really don't like the word. It's just wordsmithing for me. So the breakdown between the mother and daughter. Someone was saying on the question about every time that they're in. Okay, let me just read it. Oh, y'all gonna have to pray for me because I'm sitting on my foot and I need to get over the fact that sometimes this foot goes to sleep. Okay. Ooh, child. Y'all gonna help me get off of here? Off of my foot? Okay. So we have someone that emailed in and they literally asking, and we said we would bring it on social work table talks. How do I deal with the mother who's toxic? And what I mean by that is she judges everything about me. That includes if I'm gaining weight, how I raise the kids, who I'm dating, and even my new venture with my business. Every time I am excited to share something with her, she tends to say, I tried that already. Good luck with that. And so I'm constantly on edge when she come over. So what would you say that advice? I want to say we want to keep it to where what are some things you want her to consider um with having a mother that's always judgmental. Let's just stay parked right there. So if someone is encountering a mother who's very constantly competing and constantly negative, what would that look like? That's something you guys on the replay, you can come back because I'm sending a link to the individuals through the email. And so they can kind of have some feedback, right? Some people, they don't necessarily want to ask these questions openly in our self-care lounge, and that's totally fine. So that's why we allow for people to email us. We don't share any names. The goal is to get that conversation rolling. So if you can, um, make sure that you come back and give some feedback on that. The one thing I'm going to go over really quick because there's quite a few. You guys seen the post that I shared. The original post is a repost from what I saw on Instagram, and so we want to give shout outs to the original creator of it. But literally, she let me give her name, a psychologist, Emily Goranata, right? They have an amazing article, and I promise you, as always, we will leave some resources. So, one of the things I want to let you guys know is that the social media platform nowadays is full of really, really good resources. Just like anything in life, some things are filled with things that's not good for us, and there's always another side to it where it's filled with a lot of resources. So you'll be amazed at how much you learn, develop, and grow and figure things out when you kind of lean yourself to the part of the social media or internet that feeds some of the unanswered questions you may be having. Facebook. Okay, sorry. All right. Sorry about that. Instagram, it really made you fall down. I'm sorry. Thanks, Connect, for joining. Right when the Instagram got back going, we have another amazing leader out there that's joining. So, making sure, like, you guys go over the signs that we talked about. Our social work table talks is all about real talk, real combo, and real solutions. We have a ton of fun, and our goal is to get you to smile a little bit, right? I hope that you're not getting up every day trying to fix stuff. I think it's very overrated, if you will, to just keep getting up thinking that you are supposed to be always on the journey of healing. Do you know that part of healing is laughing? Do you know that part of healing is just not trying to overthink a thing for today? Did you know part of healing is spending less time with people that's toxic? So let's just unpack some of the things that the psychologist who wrote this amazing article, she put out there about the signs of a toxic mother. We don't have time to go over them, but I promise you, if you're on my email list, you'll probably get some of this stuff in your email. Also, on Saturday, we will be doing a Galentine where one of the speakers will be talking about some amazing ways um, to get through some things through her testimony. So one of the things that you've seen on the post is like, understanding that if you have, and just to recap for you, Connect, one of the individual questions that was asked already through the email was, how do you handle a toxic parent who constantly criticized, to the point this individual is criticized by her parenting skills, criticized if she gained weight, she's criticized about who she dates, and she recently ventured into a business, and her mother always says, well, oh, good luck with that. I've tried it already. Yeah, good luck with that. And so this individual is kind of fed up, right? She loves her mom like most people do, whether they passed on or not, whether they hear or not. If they're toxic, if they bring an emotion out of you that make you feel uneasy, what tip would you give this individual who emailed in to admin at talktotasha.com? So if you have anything, guys, be sure to put them down in the comments. All right. Yes, I'm gonna do my water thing. The other thing that we talked about is number two, when you see the mother-daughter toxic relations. Oh, let's just say this. When we are looking at, and remember, this is not therapeutic conversation, we're just chopping it up, okay? When we typically see a mother-daughter disconnect is toxic, that relationship is really focused around the mother, right? That demanding parent, the caretaker, the mother in this conversation. This, you know, table talks today is really giving you some ideas and ways to kind of consider for yourself to take back your power. Because when you have a controlling, demanding parent, mother, for example, number two, she make excessive demands. So how many times you guys, if you are older now, you said you could not wait until you moved out your mom's house because she was team too much. You didn't care if you had to go get a raggedy apartment. You didn't care if you had to go get that roommate that you really don't like, but anything to get up out of that heaviness in a toxic house coming up. So you hear people say that all the time. I moved out early. I just couldn't wait till I was 18. And so what happens is sometimes you can physically move, right? You get the apartment, you get the studio, you're excited. Don't care if it's furnished or not. It's just your place. But what happens, guys, when we still are not really bold in on the internal move that we need to make? So then this same mother comes over, make demands. You guys seen it where they moving your furniture around, they're controlling the environment. You shouldn't have the trash can there. Oh, you should do this. And so some of you guys might say, well, that's too much. Don't judge. That's not toxic. We're talking about a person who knows that they know that they know that they're in a toxic mother-daughter relationship. This is not up for grabs of do you think a person is toxic. You get to evaluate that what that is for you. Because what I do know, the emotion that comes up for a daughter who's up under a controlling parent, right? They are anxious. They are on edge when the parent is calling. The caller ID comes up on the phone and they get nervous about answering the phone. And they can be 60, 50, 40, 30 years old. So the same child that you were at 8, 9, 5 years old that couldn't wait to move out at 18, thinking you're going to be healed and free from this, is still bothering you at your own house. Why? Because you still allowing this control from your mom to kind of placate and really dominate how you think and how you move and how you be. So I want you to be very attentive about that. Is why it's always important when we are on our journeys to make sure you do the heavy lifting. The heavy lifting is even practicing not answering that call, practicing not automatically, answering a text, practicing not throwing your schedule to the left because she have all of these demands that is put on you, and then you're beating up yourself because you can't meet the demands, right? You have a life, and even if your life is just kind of hanging out with yourself at Barnes and Noble or hanging out with friends, you have a life, right? And your life is not designed around trying to please your mom. And we know that generational curses exist among mother and daughters down through the years. And so you're going to be the first one to say, you know what? That doesn't work for me. She can do that with, a sibling, a cousin, like a sister or whatever. But for you, we're going to work on you thinking about, especially for the one that emailed this in. These are good questions pouring in. So the excessive demands, what I noticed, and you guys can chime in, when you are up under this, and you hear me say up under this because it's a whole bondage, it's a whole like energy, right? Then you end up doing the same thing. You end up attracting people to your life that literally, requires so much from you. And I think a lot of times you guys can weigh in. We talking. A lot of times you're so used to doing it that it just becomes natural. And so you end up overextending yourself. And so I want you to just make note of what the psychologist wrote about the signs. So number 2 was she make excessive demands of you. A toxic mother may place unusual and overwhelming demands on you. They may expect you to drop everything for them and attend to their needs, even though you have your own life. If you try to say no, they may respond with anger and criticism or guilt. Oh, well, your sister did it for me, or your in-laws did it for me. Well, fine, I'll call this person. And sometimes you see them really like bring up the person you don't get along with. That's manipulation, because you've been trusted with your mom the person that you don't really get along with. And so when you set the boundary, like, no, I'm not available, here they go. Well, I'm going to ask, Sheila to do it. She'll do it for me, knowing you and Sheila don't have the best relationship. So that's how I that is how you see manipulation play out. And it says, if you try to say no, okay, you may feel trapped into giving into their demands, even though they are too much for you. Over time, this can lead you towards anger, resentment, and burnout. All right, so be mindful of that. That goes to number 3. She uses manipulation to get what she wants. Manipulation is a hallmark trait of a toxic parent. A hallmark trait of a toxic parent. A manipulative person tries to change another person's thoughts, feelings, okay, behaviors for their own benefit. Okay, so Instagram is off. Every time people call through there, it turns them off. So we'll try to get them back connected. So the hallmark of manipulation is a hallmark trait of a toxic parent. A manipulative a manipulative person tries to change another person's thought, feelings, or behaviors for their own. This is often done in a sneaky way. For example, a manipulative person may offer to do a favor because they have a larger request that they need from you. So there's a motive behind, and some of you guys kind of know that because some of you guys say, "Girl, I'm guarded. I don't expect nothing from nobody." If they have, it's a catch-22, right? Some of you guys probably been on that journey already, and so sometimes you've been manipulated, and so when you've been manipulated, you're very careful about the different things and the way you make decisions. So that's where a lot of that stuff may stem from. Number 4, we talking about um boundaries. How are boundaries? Let me see. Instagram is really trying to. I'm in the middle of my live and they keep kicking out every time you call. Can I call you when I get off, sweetie? Thank you. Bye. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you got. Let's see. All right. Sorry about that, you guys. Hi, Sarah M. Okay, sorry about that. Every time someone call in on that, it kicks you off. So sorry about that. So where were we? We were talking about we're talking about the mother-daughter toxic relationships and things to be aware of and be pretty hopeful about things that we can do to kind of do better for ourselves. Okay, so number 4, we're talking about the mother in this controlling experience. Let me take a deep breath. Let me take a deep breath right before you. When I keep getting, distracted. All right, let me take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath. Take deep breath. Get our water. We take it in our water. That feels good. That feels good. I was sitting before you guys on this table topics or table talks. I don't know what we calling this, sis. Connect with Nick gonna be on here with me soon. But I was gonna press through what I was feeling. And I'm so glad that I caught myself. Because pressing through that, it would have came out as me rambling. I felt myself, the spirit of rambling coming on. And when you guys are taking your sack lunches and you hanging out with me online, I value your time. I'm not here to be a rambler. I'm not here to be liked and shared all over the world. I'm not here trying to be famous. That is not my goal. That's not how I get down. That's not the assignment that I'm on. So when I feel and you feel some pressure coming in or being pressed, whether it's a distraction with technology, whether something is distracting you, whether it's in your spirit, you sit with it, right? And people that's really for you, they gonna rock with you whether your socks on backwards or not. They gonna rock with you whether you got on your pajamas or whether you got on your red bottoms or whatever it is y'all out there wearing, right? And that's when you know you got your corner, your squad, because they take you as you are, and you don't have to change who you are. You don't have to, well, let me deep clean my house from top to bottom before they come over. You know that you don't fool with people like that. Maybe when you was younger, but celebrate the fact that you starting to say, you know what? There's so many different levels to me. I'm not just what you see at the meeting. We was raised to be wise, right? We know how to conduct and carry ourselves in certain environments. That's the eclectic part of being a woman. That's the eclectic part of being an African American woman. If you are an Asian woman, or if you are a Caucasian woman, however you get down, however the morals and values, whether you are a Armenian woman, whatever it is that you were formed and shaped with, your core values, right? As you get older, you start to be able to pivot, you start to be able to take things away and add things on. But the underlying factor that we're talking about today is, how do I move through and be okay when I was raised with a controlling parent that caused me the heartache, the headache that I still see showing up in my adult life. And I don't care what anybody say. Everybody's experience is different. Some people still struggling with it. Some people have passed some areas in it. And sometimes you get triggered. It just depends on how your day is going. So I thank God for you guys. Hey, Sister Masan. And so I'm very grateful that you guys are starting to see that there's some things that we can change for ourselves, and we don't have to be up under this controlling parent, right? And so some people feel really guilty, right? I've had people email, and we had discussions here at the office, in groups about how do you heal from the mother-daughter toxic bond when the mother has passed away. How do you grieve a parent that you're upset with or haven't forgiven and that person passed on, right? That is a really good question. And I'm going to invite that person who's in that space right now, way before Mother's Day, before some of the triggers may come up, is to get offline, 559-390-1444. Text for more information, and we can get you connected wherever you are in your area, to give you some resources and tools so you can start to have a safe place to kind of work through some of that stuff. That's definitely a good reference to lean into. And I think on that journey, I think you deserve to have that intimate conversation on a continuum as you work through some of that. Some things you can work through in different ways, but when it comes to that, I believe, and I'm just telling you as an online bestie, non-therapeutically, I just think that no matter how technology is moving left or right, some conversations, depending on how you operate and how you deal, is worth you making a consistent appointment like you do at the gym and the dentist and all these things to really just kind of work some layers off. I know that's been helpful for me on my journey. And I really, really, what did you say? Truth? Okay, so I really want to invite you guys to that. So let's just go ahead and do one more for the sake of time. What time is it, Coley? Okay, let's get through because I know some people going to lunch. Going back from lunch. So number 5 is one of the other traits is the mother that's toxic. Put down your accomplishments. And this is where, you know how we do the people pleasing boot camps? We have revealed some of this stuff in our boot camps, because when you are coming up as a little one and your mother, let's say, is competing with you and constantly putting you down and constantly telling you that she need to be your primary focus and guilting you with all the stuff, how she took care of you. And now it's your time to, spend your whole life around her. And this is really, really, I've seen this with parents who's divorced, who's widow, and I've also seen it with parents who, even married. And what happened is in their marriage, they're not even, this toxic mother is not even fulfilling what she needs to do in the marriage because she's so fixated on controlling her child. And one of the things I want to say is oftentimes what I've seen on my journey, I'm not sure about you guys, but that generational curse that we talked about, that mother is fighting against her former self, if you will. So a lot of times, especially the firstborn daughter, reminds the mother of themselves. So you are a reminder of her in some aspect. So this disconnect is because she is so ruptured on the inside and attacking the physical person that you are, but it's an internal thing. So, like when you are making accomplishments and she wasn't able to, right? You, number five, is this toxic parent is putting down your accomplishments because she's so unresolved, and you moving forward is reminding her of the areas of her life she didn't fulfill as if it's too late. But I'm just saying, a wounded person in this conversation, a wounded parent, mother specifically, is, putting down the daughter accomplishments. And we know in a healthy dynamic, many parents, you want your kids to thrive and go further, right? And so in this unhealthy dynamic, you have this mother who's putting down your accomplishments. And some of you guys, if you know people, they've experienced that for years since they were little. Now they're older and they still got this toxic mother. On some level, you still trying to get this mother to accept you. So therefore, you still telling her about your dating situation, and you're hopeful that she approve of the date. You're hopeful that the house she about to get on the hill, that she's gonna like it. You're hopeful that when you tell her about the promotion, she's just gonna be super happy and saying, "Ooh, daughter, I'm so proud of you," right? But really, she's shrinking down. She's choosing to shrink down based on her unresolved stuff. And so what happened is you keep going to her, sharing little stuff with her, right? And so what we need to consider is if she can't take in my information and give me the support that I need emotionally, then we don't necessarily have to tell her. Not that the family won't, but I'm just saying to keep you safe and not really beating up on yourself. You've seen people get through a lot of stuff. They're starting to have milestones reached. They're super happy, and then they shrink down with sharing it because I don't want to make my mom mad, right? And so you shrinking the part of you that God has delivered to keep toxic mom over here safe. And that's not fair to you. And what you're needing to share to other, your nieces, your nephews, your peers, your spouse or whatever. So we have to free ourselves up from that because we can't heal our parents. We can't. No matter how much you keep giving them gifts, no matter how much time you spending with them, no matter how much you're helping them and helping them and helping them externally, internally, they have to heal for themselves. And what I'm telling individuals now is get to a place where you know how to put your words together, really to have that courageous conversation with your mom. Because some of you guys have emailed, I think we got about 3 emails where it's really getting nasty out here, especially for the younger parents that, really thought they would have the support of their mother to help with the kids while you go to work. And now, you have this mother, her stuff is coming up. And so she rather sabotage you going forward and not be the grandmother that you were hoping for. But generally speaking, the past behavior is a predictor of the future behaviors if nobody's working on making things right. We just don't flip the calendar page and hope that everything changes, right? So we know what we know. So just be mindful that those compliments and accomplishments that you're making, it's very important for you to have just a small handful of people that even if it's one other person that you can feel free and excited about what it is that you're doing. It doesn't have to be anything over the top major. It doesn't have to be anything. Don't wait. We had someone yesterday just really affirm with his lips something that he did, and he didn't think it was a big deal. And before, he would have been reacted in a way that wouldn't have been favorable. So we practiced that, like we really practiced it. And then I practiced some things, and so it ended up going viral in the room. So it was a really fun exercise for us to do. I do need to say this last one on this table talks right here. And this is very critical. Some of you guys can relate to this, and please chime in because this is table talks. When we talk real talks, real combos, real solutions. We have fun with me over here on this couch with my mixed back socks. Okay, so the last one, and we'll unpack the other ones another time. But the toxic mother hurts you with her words or actions. Words or actions. A toxic mother may say or do things without thinking about how they will affect her children. She may be so focused on her own needs that she is unable to acknowledge how her behavior makes you feel. In severe cases, this can involve physical or verbal abuse. And yes, verbal abuse exists among adult children. I know it's kind of like oxy, but adult and children. But I have experienced adults being verbally abused by their parent. When you were little, you had to be up under that address. You moved on, you changed addresses, you changed marital status, you changed. But all of the stuff that was said to you in that house, some of it stick, some of it you heal through. Go get you a godparent. Go get you an auntie that's like a parent that's healthy for you. This right here can't give it to you. Quit going to the same fountain, hoping that it turn on when it's already been broken 10, 20, 30 years. You continue to pray for her, but don't go to that fountain requesting water that she doesn't have. She's dry. And be on this journey because like we talked about on the other one, resentfulness come up, anger. Then you start thinking this is a whole blood and crip like fight squabble going on. We don't want that because your biggest ministry is how do I get through when my mother is toxic? When the world say, ooh, it's Mother's Day, how can you go over there and give her some soup and she was so nasty? And God heals your heart and extend, grace and give you the words to say and still knowing that you're keeping your boundaries and limits and the expectations and being real about it, you still able to go and say, this is still my mom, right? Because we don't match energies. Grown, mature people do not match energies in the sense that what they do for me, what they do to me, I'm going to do back to them. We did that in elementary school, right? And so the biggest extension of maturity is when I treat others with kindness, even though they're not that kind to me. Sometimes we're going to be tested and tried, but when it comes to our parent, it is totally okay to scale back. Don't spend a whole lot of time at that fountain or even going for things that they can't give us. So I'm going to tell you since about 3 or 4 months, I want to say since I think since last November, December, we've been getting a lot of providers out of retirement serving. We have witnessed reconciliation. We have witnessed God move in relationships with mother and daughters. One thing we work with the one person, and this, like you might be on here, like I know that I'm impacted by this toxic mother, but I'm not even courageous enough to tell her. Because some people say, you did this to me. You get on my nerves. Or you go in hiding. Soon as she comes, she pulling up in her Cadillac. The mothers be having them old school cars. And you get triggered and you get to snacking and acting like you're not there. This is grown people doing this. And you don't have to hide anymore. You do not have to hide anymore. In fact, you need to come out in this season. Come out in your truth. The fact is my self-esteem is under the rug because the core values in the relationship or the lack thereof that I had with my parent, whether she alive or on this side of glory, on this side, has really taken a driver's seat in my life. And I'm ready to show up and release this thing up off of me. All right. And that is the real work. That's the real work. Mother's Day coming up. And you gonna be thinking about everybody else and they matching outfits. Don't get deceived by that and distracted by that. Just know that you are honoring yourself more. You probably the first in the family that's breaking off that curse. You the first that said, I'm not gonna call my kids bitches and hoes. I'm not even if I'm tired. You can't make an excuse. You call them a bitch and a hoe over and when they ate, knock-kneed and four-eyed and fat and two-faced and all of that. At 8 and 9, baby, that's traveling with them because now they're going to school hearing it. Then they start dating a man that said, and now if my mama said that's what I am, and that's the foundation, then maybe I am. So how I move through life really reinforced what was told to me. Because if you hear it long enough, you're going to believe it. If you hear anything in life long enough, and now our long enough is not that long anymore. You know, some of us was raised where you huff and puff and blow that house down. I think that was the three little pigs, friend? Was it the three little pigs? I'm a huff and puff and blow that house down or something like that. We're not living in the huff and puff no more. Folks are just blowing houses down, figuratively. Blowing you down, writing you off. No tolerance, no extension of grace or nothing. They just flat out blowing folks down. They not waiting for the huff or the puff. And so for you, it's going to be very critical for you to not keep going to where you're not being fed. And then crying wolf that you're starving like Marvin. Because you do have an option to turn around. You do have an option to go get what you need. You do have other options. You can't heal your parent. You can't heal that man. You can't heal them kids. All right? So let's stop, overexerting ourselves and really quit speaking death over the situation. Some of you guys, well, my mama just toxic. You got a toxic t-shirt, a toxic hat, a toxic purse, a nose ring that say toxic, a bracelet that say toxic. So you operating and walking all in that every single day. And then Mother's Day hit, Valentine's hit, you're going to reinforce on the microphone that you got a toxic mother. Or I was birthed out through such and such and so and so. So whatever get the most of your attention, that's the part of you that need to kind of lean up to the healing squad. Because you're speaking about it over and over and over again. Because it bothers you on many levels. And I don't really discourage people from talking about things because I think it's necessary. That's why we have table talks. But at some point, if we just talking about it and it's hindering, and that's on any level, right? So you have people that's functional alcoholics, functional addicts, functional work. People put their spin on it. They spin the block on whatever. Not my business. But what I'm telling you, anything foundationally speaking, so we don't complicate this, anything that hinders you from moving forward in the purpose that's on your life is a whole entire issue. That's up for you to decide. That's up for you to decide what that is, because you know you more than anybody. And so if you speaking loud and clear day in and day out about your mom being toxic, how can you go on a journey to heal through this, right? And be the greatest witness to her on forgiveness if that's all you put into the mic of life is what you experience. Some of you guys done got a job layoff. You done went through some surgeries and healed through that. And even though you're healed, the thing that you got at the mic is, I had this disease. I had this disorder. I was diagnosed with this, and this, and this. So I'm not surprised when it comes down to a mother-daughter relationship or the lack thereof. That is the thing that's getting most of your attention. You guys will be amazed that the power of being quiet and just like being in this escape space or create an escape place in your home. Some of you guys tell me your biggest escape place is in your car. You don't really care about what the price inflation is doing, baby. You putting a little bit of gas in that car. And some of y'all telling me, girl, I'm kicking it down the corner, around the corner, and just really kicking it in my car to get peace of mind. And I'm asking you, that's good that you finding a way. But how long are you going to trap your gift inside of a car? Somebody got to get up and move their hips. Somebody got to get up and, create this space in your life that doesn't render you having to go gas up and hide out somewhere. Right? And so for some of you guys on here, you've been hiding out, you've been hurting, you've been going through those tips we got through. I thank the individual for sending the email in. We had an amazing time. I just did the 6, but like I said, if you're on the email, you will get you can get more of that. But I just wanted to encourage you guys in that. The last thing I'm gonna slide in here and tell you, we didn't get a chance to go over some other ones, but we will. No big rush. The other thing I promised was the one on couples. The one on couples. Couples we're going to be doing some stuff. So we have um a couples retreats coming up. There's a link that I'll send you. I think it's in March. But also there's a questionnaire that I usually like to use. And for some of you that have friends as couples, or you a couple, sometimes you could be a couple with yourself. But one of the things I'm going to leave you with is a question to ask yourself, because we do see and you know, I'm still connected with peers in the work, that's in the trenches, that's out there on the front lines, and I love to, you know, be connected with them, and not what's on the news, because they're in there and they give us updates and they let us know, like, this is what's trending, Tasha, this is what we're seeing, and you know, we got to strategize, and Lord direct and guide us on how we're going to do our good and reasonable service in this work. Domestic violence is through the roof since COVID. People forced to be at home, and you know, people losing jobs and health scares, and the little people trying to figure out what happened to grandma. And so the whole family dynamic is impacted. And I don't want you to get super like beside yourself, because you know, a lot of times we move from one crisis on the news to the next, but people are still having struggles with COVID. People are still passing away. Just because it didn't make the local news. Um, my husband, one of the leaders at his place, they work in the hospital. Person in the sauna found dead in her sauna. Otherwise healthy woman. They don't know what's going on, right? They see her today. Here she is in her sauna, dead. Funeral coming up, right? So people are dealing with a lot right now. Unexpected. You guys seen yesterday or this week, 3 individuals in our community gunned down. One person wasn't even supposed to be at the gas station. A stray bullet. And this is a woman that, you know, we raised our kids together. And 2 years ago, one of her twin boys was shot. Right? And so there's a lot going on. One of the boys, I just talked to him, very hopeful about his future. And not one, but 3 in the same vicinity gone. So it's safe and necessary to say that we funking in our homes and fussing and fighting in our homes and being nasty with each other in our homes, and you wondering and thinking the little people sleep. That's not how we gonna do this. Somebody got to be the voice in the family, whether you the auntie pulling up in your Cadillac like, no, we're not doing this. Y'all can act the fool, but these kids don't need to be exposed to that mess. Pull it together, whatever that looks like. But exposing the kids to it, that's not how we finna do this. Because guess what? They going to school fighting, letting out their aggression for what they heard y'all arguing in the living room about. So you going to decide we're going to work through this because it takes 2, or we not. We're going to take a break. What does that break look like? But being up under this, what happened to that fancy baby shower you was excited to bring the babies into the world with? Oh, do we forget? And life go to life, and you doing things in your own strength. No type of God that you seeking out. Up online complaining top to bottom. And like I tell people, you're going to sit up and disrespect Black history as if people didn't make sacrifices for you to have all kinds of goodies at your access to contribute to this thing called life and Black history, which is American history. Don't want to contribute to that. January is Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and you say that's a day off when it should be really a day on. You're talking about the crisis with youth, but you ain't trying to, mentor your nephew or your niece, not even once a month. But you on the side of the bench complaining about their behavior. Are you part of the solution or part of the problem? And that same individual will get online. Don't nobody support me. Don't nobody share my stuff. Don't know, they hating on me. They don't want. That's the microphone that you keep putting your lips on. But you don't want to contribute to Black history. You don't want to mentor. You disregard and disrespect your grandmama and them, Dr. King and them, all the sacrifice they made. In other words, you're not trying to give out anything. No regard to reciprocity. Right? As soon as it's not coming back to you and your little business, and yes, I said little business, Because if it's not of God and he not your CEO, it's not going to be spectacular like you think. It's funny to me how people whine the most and can't stand when it come back to them. You dishing out all of this. I'm 50 years old, doing my good and reasonable service in the corner of the world that I'm called to do. I'm not here to change. I'm not that powerful. But we have the most laziest energies up out here, self-serving, and people my age is running circles around y'all. Why? Because we understand that we on assignment. This is not a game. We understand we're not called to do all things. We understand that people who got up in the rain and walked many miles to get some opportunities for me, I can't sit up and suck my thumb and cry. I got to know how to think and move my feet and fry chicken and babysit and braid some hair. Okay? And yeah, well, I just got to be balanced. I got to be balanced, work-life balance. Okay, when have life been balanced? Baby, you need to be seeking harmony. Y'all look it up. Do your due diligence. And I want you to look up work-life balance versus harmony and see what you come up with. Because we go to yelling work-life balance when it's convenient for you to get out of the thing you're supposed to do. Right? And so when you have to do that thing and you know you're supposed to do it and you don't want to, then we yell in work-life balance. But when you put your eyes and your energies on something you really want to do, oh, baby, you'll stay up 10, 15 hours to do it. You drive 15 miles to go see your favorite artist. Ain't really birthed out the art in you that you're supposed to be doing in the name of creating more history to the history books for us. Anyway, that's a whole nother hot topic on a hot rainy day. Okay, so you couples out there, I want you to reflect back on what was the beginning of your relationship like and how long did the phase last? I'll repeat it. What was the beginning of your relationship like and how long did this phase last? All right. What was the beginning of your relationship like and how long did this phase last? That would be a good question to push out. And I've seen another one. The last one. They really cutting up on Instagram. They cutting y'all off. And then the last one is what caused things to go downhill after that. So the first question was, what was the beginning of your relationship like and how long did this phase last? And then what's contributing to the downfall now? And then the third thing is, what are you willing to do to reconcile and get things back on track? Some people try, explore what they tried, and then what are you willing to do? Okay, so I think that would be it for today. I hope this was helpful. We will be trying to do our social work table talks. If you haven't already, make sure you reach out to us. Email us any questions or topics you want us to explore. This has been an amazing table topics, and we want to talk about things that other people don't talk about, or they talk about things and just reinforce the thing. And our goal is to get honest, bold conversations out there, keep it real with one another, see where we are, learn from one another, grow, and together we gonna be all right. Okay, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.